All right, welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Let's go out and take a look at the final piece of the puzzle that we need to put together here for the start of the upcoming 100K challenge, and that will kick off here tomorrow. Over the last couple days, we've talked about various elements of the challenge, as well as the watch list, the ATR method, and just some of the challenge structure here. And so let's go out and complete the spreadsheet, and get things tied down to to run with here tomorrow. Now, yesterday we talked about the challenge watch list. I did fill in all of the tickers here for both Tier 1 and Tier 2, and they will appear there on the spreadsheet. I will post this spreadsheet today, so that you do have access to that. You will get the link there in the. All right, my apologies. I'm getting a note here saying that we are not live streaming, so let me readjust something and see if we can get going. Board. Over the last couple days, we've taken a look at various pieces of the 100K challenge, started to put the 100K challenge spreadsheet together. We've talked about the trade entries. We've talked about the ATR method, the watch list. So let's go out today. We'll complete the spreadsheet. I will post the link to the spreadsheet in the feed that you will be able to access there. From time to time over the course of the challenge, the link for the spreadsheet will change, just so that only members have access to the real-time data there. But I will be, anytime it changes, I'll post a new link, and most days I'll post the link there in the message feed for you to be able to find it and use it and see kind of what the levels are. So here we are, front page. Challenge watch list stocks are in Tier 1, Tier 2 from yesterday, and I will attach yesterday's video here so you can go and access that. Just short 10-minute video. You can see the sorting method video right here, and then I will attach the ATR video here as well. So if you ever want a refresher on these things, you can go back and access them. All right. So let's go through and talk about the other tabs down here below. Let's start with entry triggers. Now, making a change here to the entry triggers. Last challenge, every day put whether there was a trigger or there were none. Gonna simplify it. Simply, when there is a trigger, let's just say Apple were to trigger this afternoon. It does have a 3-7 crossover. I'm not sure if it's a signal here just yet, but let's say it were a signal, and this is what would be logged: September 25th p.m. All right, because we have the AM session, the PM session, Apple bullish, and go. Right, that's it. Right, that's it. I also will add here, and I'm not quite sure how to do it. Whether I'm going to do it with a highlight, or whether I'm going to make another column. I'd rather they're looking at that for me. What would be best? I don't think it matters all that much. But being able to track, okay, real quick on this sheet, was this signal traded, right? Because let's face it, we're not going to be able to trade every signal, and so we'll log the ones that are traded and the ones that aren't traded. So you'll be able to see all of those here, as they happen, and this is updated when I'm on video each day, in the morning session and the afternoon session. So small change to that. The trade data. Now, this is what the trade data looked like for last challenge. When we got into a trade, Procter & Gamble, you saw me fill this out, as we made the trade and as we exited the trade, right? And I adjusted the trade price every time I got on video to what the real-time trade price was at that time. We'll continue to do that. Right, we'll continue to do that, and track the gains, losses, and all of that. So you'll be able to see a summation of that. When we have a trade that splits where we have to peel some off and hold the rest, like we did with gold and Under Armour and Boeing and Bank of America last challenge, I'll continue to split it in this fashion. Is it the best way to track the data? No, and a few of you have commented to me we could do it a different way, and I get it, I understand it, but for simplicity's sake, going to continue to just track it this way on the spreadsheet. For the challenge. Now, there's an addition here, or a few additions that I'm adding during this challenge, and these are things that as we've built the algorithm and everything, these are things that I've tracked and that we have taken a look at and everything else. But going to log the trade delta, right? What is the trade delta? Well, the trade delta is how much the value of the option will change per $1 move in the stock. So if we were to go out and buy Apple, we were to buy $2,000 worth of Apple, a $1 move in the price of Apple, how much would it change the option value? And so we'll be logging the trade delta in here. I will also log the trade vega. This is how much the option value will increase or decrease per tick in implied volatility. So most options, when the implied volatility goes up, the value of that option increases via the vega. Now, if you're in calls, it'll decrease via the delta, but the vega, we'll be able to see what that trade vega is and be able to track that. We had quite a few trades last challenge where trade vega was a big part, and that will be a more glaring part when stocks simply don't move. And there will be a part that everyone goes, who cares when stocks actually move? Because delta, it's always going to trump vega. Delta, if you get a stock that's moving, vega can't compete in terms of price movement and affecting the option value there. And then the last one here is the trade theta. So basically the time decay, right? And anytime we get into an option trade, there's time decay, right? To hold it a day, there's a cost. And if the stock price is exactly the same from one day to another and nothing else has changed, the option value is going to tick down a little bit via time decay and the trade theta. So we'll track that here as well. Also, when we enter a trade, we'll track the market vibe number and signal. So if we were to enter today on Apple, for instance, which I'm not going to do, and I'm not even sure if this is going to be a signal yet, but I would put 4 neutral, right? Because that's what the market vibe signal is, and I would try to spell neutral correctly, but the number right now is 4, and the signal's neutral, so I'd type 4 neutral. Why is that coming into play? Are any of these coming into play with the decision-making process? No, they aren't. They don't come into play with the decision-making process. They will, delta versus vega will come into play sometimes to see if we actually go make the trade on the signal. But it is one of those where this is more informational purpose, understanding, discussing, being able to kind of understand the concept behind the signals here. And then last, I added a key comments section. And when there's something, really important to note about this trade, I will note it in the key comments section. There were probably only 2 or 3 trades last challenge where I think, hey, there's some key comments, to be logged and made here. But it's just one of those where I do want to track those. Anytime I get out of a trade and I say, hey, I have to get out because of the algorithm, but man, I still like this to work. I'll log it in the key comments, right? And we had a few of those last challenge. I'll log it in the key comments, not because I'm going to make a different decision. I'm going to run with the algorithm, but it's just one of those where I know others are trading it a little bit differently, and yeah, I'll log that, and we got to track that as we go, as we go forward over the course of this challenge. Okay, so that'll be the data that's added here, but there has not been any data taken out. All the data there, is additive, not we're not subtracting anything here from it. So I'm going to come in here and let's wipe this clean so that it's ready for the next challenge. And again, this isn't last challenges sheet. Last challenges sheet is all safe, all the data safe there. But this was just a copy of it that we're now adjusting. So here we have it. We have the new sheet, clean, challenge gains 0, challenge value. Well, get rid of the Under Armour Disney Visa comments from last time, because essentially they were sold because we hit 10K and needed to pull out 3K, so we went and did that, and there we go. Let's get rid of a few. Let's get rid of a few columns in here, and that way it'll just shift up our or a few rows here. That way it'll shift up our value. We're ready to go here for tomorrow. Right, ready to go. Now the other tab here is the 30 to 60-day summary. And last challenge, 30-day, 60-day trading summaries. I put them in with some of the data and everything else. We'll continue to do that, and give more of a data-centric view on what is essentially going on. Okay. All right. So that's the spreadsheet ready to go and ready to rock here. And again, we'll add this to the message feed here today, and you can access that. And then when it changes, we'll make note of it. What you'll see is September to January 100K challenge data. The next one, it'll have a 2 beside it. The next one will have a 3, and we'll just go out. Each update will just have a different number associated there with it. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing I wanted to do here as we go forward with this challenge is talk about the process here, because there is not going to be a single trade made where the stock doesn't have a 3-day to 7-day moving average crossover, meaning where the 3-day exponential moving average actually moves up above the 7-day exponential moving average, right? Now, here on my chart, one of the ways that I have that shown is via a MACD, right? Because all a MACD is show moving average crossovers, right? That's what it's built to do. And so I have a MACD set for the 3 and the 7. Then I just have a 1 as the last value there, just because I don't need a smoothing line. And when this MACD goes above 0, we have an upside 3-7 crossover. When it goes below 0, we have a downside 3-7 crossover. And it's that simple, right? And so what you will notice is that all trades that happen will come out of this watch list, right? And all trades that happen will have a 3-7 crossover. The puts will have a downside 3-7 crossover. The calls will have an upside 3-7 crossover. And that is the consistent element there. Now, I'm not going to share the other parts of the algorithm and everything else, but those are two, key things that you could track, that you can look at, to kind of keep me honest and not, this is just Jeff's willy-nilly trade. And Jeff just thinks, KB Home's going to go higher. Well, KB Home isn't on the watch list. KB Home doesn't have a crossover. And so if I go trade KB Home, you can say, hey, Jeff, come on. This is a little fishy here, right? But I do want to go out and show you a quick scan, and this scan is on stock charts, where you can go in and you can scan for the crossovers as you would like, right? Now, remember, not all crossovers will be signals. In fact, only about 20% of them are. Over the last 4 months, even fewer than that were signals, right? I think we're down in the 12% range, where only 12% of the 3-7 crossovers for stocks on the watch list actually created triggers, right? But I do want to show that scan here to you, and let's come in here. I'm just going to come into my dashboard, and I have a scan saved here, and I'll just show you the scan parameters. Here we go. It's just looking for the MACD line where the 371 yesterday was below 0, and where today the MACD line is above 0. Right? I don't have the 3-7 crossover type stuff because I can simply use the MACD to simplify the expressions, and it is that simple. Now, the challenge algorithm and all that, the scan of everything, it's far more complicated. But if you just want to find the crossovers here via stock charts or any sort of scan, these are the parameters there. Now, I've come in and I have a group. This is the 100K Challenge May 2019. So these are all the stocks that were on the challenge watch list for May 2019. What I will be doing is creating a new group that has all the new stocks in it here for the September challenge. And because I do go and use this a lot, I pull this up on video just to show you what is crossing over and what is not. So if I run this scan right now, you can see IBM and Nike have 3-7 crossovers, right? So if I pull up IBM, we can see that the 3-day moving average is moving above the 7-day moving average. We can see that on the MACD, where the MACD is going from below 0 to above 0. Right? It doesn't tell me whether it's a trade signal for the challenge algorithm or not, but I can see, the crossover element here with it. We also have Nike, right? That has a 3-7 crossover. Now, Nike doesn't have a chance to trigger here today. One thing to keep in mind, and you'll hear me repeat this a lot, but when stocks jump or move more than 2 average true ranges to create the signal is not valid. And that is simply because one of the things we have noticed that when a signal is created on a massive jump, the risk of loss on buying call options or put options, buying the directional option is very high. And it is just a risk that we don't need to take. And so, something like this right here in March, where we have the big drop, we get a downside 3-7 crossover that happens. It doesn't trigger bearish for the challenge. Had it triggered bearish and we bought puts right here, where are we sitting 3 days later? We're sitting with about an 80% loss because we lose not only on the price moving against us, which it didn't move too far against us by the time it stopped out, but the implied volatility moved against us in a huge way. Right, so the option risk factor is just very high. So something like Nike just won't have a chance. But you can come into these scans and look for yourself and say, okay, where are the crossovers? Are they there? Or I do show them on a video when they're there. Now all I did down here is reverse the expressions. From MACD line greater than 0 to now today MACD line less than 0. What's that looking for? It's looking for the downside 3-7 crossovers. And today we have Chipotle, ConocoPhillips, and Target all doing that. So I'll show you Target here. You can see it has a downside 3-7 cross here. You can see it in the MACD line. Target probably isn't going to trigger here today. But ConocoPhillips has the 3-day moving average moving down below the 7-day moving average here. We can see that here with the MACD line. And then Chipotle Mexican Grill, which is having a rough day here, a rough couple days, has a downside 3-7 crossover. We can see the MACD line moving below 0. Now, this scan and this look doesn't tell me whether it's a challenge trigger or signal or anything like that. But if you want to be able to go out for yourself and see, which stocks are crossing over, hey, is Jeff going to make a trade? If you're wondering if I'm going to make a trade in the next half hour, it's 2 o'clock Eastern and I'm jumping on at 2:30. You pull up the scan real quick and go, are there any crossovers? If there are no crossovers, I'm not making a trade. I can't. right? My hands are tied there. I can't make a trade here with the algorithm, and so I won't. So, if you want to kind of see how that's done and or be able to kind of track some of that for yourself there, you can do it with a simple scan. And, you can do this outside of stock charts too with any sort of scan program. Thinkorswim have scans you can set up like this. All different brokers have different scans you can set up like this. A lot of different charting softwares have scans you can set up like this. This is a very simple, very basic, basic scan there where you can track that. Okay. Alrighty. So we're ready. We're ready to go. Ready to move here tomorrow. Now we'll kick off tomorrow afternoon. We'll not be kicking off in the morning, and why? Well, because the morning we don't see many signals. We very rarely see morning signals. The algorithm is built tighter in the morning. And for good reason, because of some of the whipsaws and things that we see. But occasionally there are some morning entries. But I decided to start it the afternoon. That was just a higher chance of a trade signal coming in. I know myself and many are going to be anxious for the first trade. Let's go. Let's get this show on the road. But I believe it was last challenge, first day, we didn't get any signal. And we just kind of had to wait for the next signals and, ultimately ran with them. And, as we get them, we'll run with them and we'll run the process here with the challenge algorithm. Okay. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for being with us here at Trader Minute. Great to have you. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.